What's up, everybody? I'm Jasmine Naomi. I am host of the Souly Human podcast. I'm a clinical therapist here in Southern California. And on Souly Human, we talk about mental health stuff, spirituality stuff, but we talk about like our human experiences and kind of learn and grow with each other while also acknowledging that we aren't just human, but we are also soul. And our soul is what connects us to ourselves, each other, and the universe around us. So I'm super excited because today I have one of my best friends on here, Yaya.
Hello.
You got it. I was going to say hi. So Yaya is one of my long-term best friends, super special to me, also a Libra queen. We love our Libras. If you didn't know, I'm a Libra. So we're going to talk about some cool stuff today, some real mental health stuff today. But before we start, Yaya, can you tell us, who are you? Who would you say Yaya is?
Oh my gosh.
Diving right in.
I would say I feel like I've just been, I don't know how to exactly word it, but I would say I feel like Yaya is everywhere. And what I mean by that is, I think because I have family everywhere, I just feel connected to so many different spaces and so many different people.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel like there's one thing that I can really use to describe myself because of having to, I don't know, like sharing these different spaces with family and friends and mainly family because my family is spread out. I don't want to say a different person in each setting, but each family dynamic is very different. So I don't know if that makes sense.
That does make sense.
I feel like I can't really describe myself in just one way because I'm me in a lot of different ways. But I'd say Yaya is trying her best every day. And I don't know.
I hear that.
That's all I got.
I think that was great. I was actually just talking with Taylor about this yesterday. She was like, so how are you? And I was like, I don't think I know who I am. I was feeling a bunch of different things. And so I was telling her.
Me grips the table as you're saying.
That's a meme. Like, I should zoom in on one of our hands. Like, on the Grand Canyon. When you grab the rock. I want to make that a meme.
That was 2023 in a nutshell. That hand grab was 2023.
That was. So, guys, we went to the Grand Canyon in October. It's kind of like a combined birthday thing. And you're kind of scared of heights.
Yeah, I've realized within the past 3 years, I'm terrified of heights. I don't know why.
I mean, they're scary.
Yeah, but when I was younger, no problem, I would see a roller coaster and be like, let's do it.
It's that brain development, yo. Suddenly you're aware of all the possibilities.
True. Our brains did fully develop about a year ago.
Yeah, super fun time. So we went to the Grand Canyon, and despite her fear of heights, she went on the ledges. And one of them, I was like, whoa, tap out.
Yeah.
But coming back, she went to grab and was just like, and it was the little hand grab. I have the video onto the rock. Anyway, so, yes. So I was basically telling Taylor, I'm in a lot of different spaces, and I feel like I'm trying really my best to show up authentically in each space.
Yes.
But I'm still trying to figure that out.
Yes.
Because I feel like I am a different person in those spaces. But she was like, what if you're all of them? And I was like, true, because these are all parts of me, but I think you can tell, I can feel it when I'm showing up authentically and when I'm not. And so it's like some spaces are safer than others.
Yes.
So how do I do that in those spaces, So I think that made a lot of sense.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think you elaborated on it a little bit better, a little bit more clear.
Yeah.
Concise.
I feel that though.
Yeah.
I do. Doo-doo. Well, I'm excited you're here.
Me too.
Uh,
Is this your last episode for the year?
yeah. This is the last episode
Oh my
being recorded
gosh.
in 2023.
I was thinking about that when I was driving over here. I was like, am I her last
I
guest
love
of
that.
the
Yes, you
year?
are. Yes, you are.
Wow.
And Yaya and I have exactly different schedules pretty much 98% of the time. So
Yes.
it just worked out that way. What's the
Yeah.
date?
27?
Yeah, 27. I like that.
December 27.
We're coming up. So I'll start off this conversation with maybe going into the new year.
Mm-hmm.
What are some things you hope for when it comes to you and your mental health?
So I feel like this year in general, as far as my mental health, it was a challenge, mainly because school was taking up a lot of energy, but I was also trying to navigate and figure out what was going on with me physically, because I was dealing with a lot of pain, specifically in my wrists and my fingers and my hands. But I think because I had school and other things going on, I didn't have time to think about it. It was only in those quiet moments where I wasn't really doing anything that I'd be like, something's wrong. And in those moments, I would spiral because I did I have health insurance money? I think
Not for a while. Maybe towards the end of the school year?
No, I think so. No, because it took a whole year. It took a whole year for them to diagnose me with rheumatoid arthritis.
Okay.
But the year prior, that's when I was in the works of getting approved and all of that. So
And doing the appointments,
yes,
right?
the appointments was the tricky part with school, internship, and work. And it was just so difficult trying to find a time that would work. I was having to take time off of work and do a bunch of stuff. So overall, last year coming into this year, I think there were just a lot of questions that I had in terms of my health, and I was getting some answers, so I was feeling a lot better, but there's still gaps. And there are still things that I get scared about, specifically with health, only because it's been such a prevalent topic and issue, especially with my stepdad and his diabetes. Remember during the pandemic, it got really bad. The pandemic itself, we were in a pandemic.
Yeah.
And so I feel like in terms of my mental health, it kind of snowballed and it led to a lot of fears of getting sick and just sickness in general. So this year, it was challenging because there were moments where I was spiraling, I'm really sick, something's wrong, I'm going to get more sick, what's going to happen? Am I going to live a long life? Just going there.
Yeah.
But I think partially it hasn't been as bad as it was last year because I've had more answers. I've started my medication, and I'm really trying to tap into regardless if I do get sick in a situation where I get sick and it's out of my control. I can only do so much and try to take care of myself and do what I can, but at the end of the day, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. So I've been really trying to embrace that also, and I think that's helped me really focus on what I can do right now. And so 2023, I'm feeling very positive, especially about how I'm progressing with the inflammation in my wrist, and I'm hoping that I will have a positive outcome, and also just kind of preparing in the event that it's not necessarily the progress that I'm wanting to make isn't fully there, but still feeling good because I have come such a long way from where I first started. Because at first I ruled it out as oh, it's nothing. Maybe I just sprained my wrist or whatever, but it just kept persisting. The pain was there.
Yeah.
And I think I was just in denial of no, I can't be sick. I'm sure it's nothing. Yeah, that's kind of it in short. That's kind of what.
And I feel like even you being able to say, I am hoping for a good outcome, but I'm also preparing. But at the end of the day, I can only do so much. And kind of that release of control, that is huge in itself. Like, I feel like having to really embrace that concept started in the pandemic.
Yeah.
Like, we were freaking out. And I know that we were panicking and we spent a lot of time on FaceTime because we couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And just the fear of the unknown was super real, right? The fear of the unknown, the fear of getting sick, the fear of potentially dying as a result of sickness, the fear and kind of the isolation of being so disconnected.
Yeah.
It was like we had absolutely no control. And really, we don't when it comes to things like that, right? But I feel like even just hearing you say that and watching you say it with such truly like an acceptance of this is this, you know, that itself shows like the growth and kind of the healing done in the past couple years with that.
I appreciate that. Yeah. But like everybody, you know, I have my good days and my bad days because
same.
some days are just way too hard. And if I see a TikTok and it's like symptoms of colon cancer, I'm like, oh my gosh. So I need to be very careful because I've healed enough, but I'm still very sensitive.
I think that's part of the journey though too, right? Like understanding what will trigger you, understanding what feels safe to you, and kind of maneuvering that because none of these things are going anywhere.
Exactly.
You know? So it sounds like this past year you got a lot more answers than a year prior when it comes to your health. And that has contributed to your mental health. So what's the connection between the two? You touched on a little bit, but in your experience, what is like having this information and how does that support with your mental emotional wellness?
Well, I mean, I think anxiety is felt differently physically for a lot of people. But anxiety in general, like it's fear of just the unknown of what's to come, of I don't know, like what if this, what if that, just a lot of what ifs. And when you don't have answers and you're asking and you're Googling and you're searching for answers, it's not the most accurate information. And so you're filling your mind with all of this information that might not even apply to you. And it's causing just so much, just such icky feelings, like just feeling so scared and just frustrated, depressed, because there's like, you feel like you can't do anything because you need to go through your doctor and your insurance and this and that. So, now that I've had my answers, for the most part, there's still a few things that need to be resolved, but now that I've gotten a general idea of where I'm at, I just feel a lot more in control. And I think with anxiety, you feel anxiety because you don't have control. So even being able to take control of my health situation and my journey, it's been really empowering because I feel like it's helped me really step into like what I need, and being able to assert that and say it. And I still struggle with it because sometimes when I go to the doctors, they're so dismissive and they're just like, okay, we gotta go. And it's like, wait, like I still have questions, but it's like, I don't want to bug them, but like, this is important. So I'm still figuring out like the importance of needing to be really on top of what I need to ask. And like, hey, no, I need my appointment, or I need you to tell me this. So I'm still working on that and figuring that out. But I feel like I have come a long way because I used to be so passive about so many different things. And ever since I took control of my health and what's happening, I just feel a lot more prepared.
Okay. Okay. And I've heard that from a few people, my sister being one of them, when like navigating the healthcare system and talking with your providers and showing up and having these conversations and asking questions. I've heard that a few times, that like I've heard the word dismissive been used like multiple times. So I know we would talk on the phone like after an appointment or something, and you'd be like frustrated at different things. So how was that for you?
Well, I had a situation maybe like 2 weeks ago where I had done blood work 3 different times from my primary hospital where my primary care doctor is, and they just were not sending the results to my rheumatologist.
Oh.
And he kept requesting them, like, okay, we'll try again, we'll try again. And this last time, he's like, why don't you try going to a LabCorp? Those are everywhere. They're like in Walgreens. You just walk in and do it. So I went, waited, I took time off of work, and that's the most frustrating part. They do not care if you have a job. Like, you got to figure it out, work your schedule around it. And it's really frustrating because it's like, I have stuff to do. I can't keep taking time off of work. I have to tell my boss like a month in advance, like, hey, these are my doctor's appointments. And I feel bad because, like, it sucks because I'm missing work, but also this is important. I have to. And yeah, there was this instance a few weeks ago. Went to the LabCorp. They're like, oh, you're not covered through us. You have to go directly to your hospital. That's the only place your insurance will cover. They're like, you can try calling your insurance and see what they do. Called my insurance. Oh, well, you have to get clearance from your primary care doctor, so you need to call your doctor. I called the doctor. They're like, well, we have all of your results here. I'm like, why couldn't you guys have sent them over time?
Yeah.
So they faxed them that day. Luckily, it was resolved. But I was also thinking, like, that lab is from like 2 months ago. So my results they should be different. They should have improved more.
Yeah.
And that's another thing they're not taking into account. Like, it just delays everything so much. Yeah, that it's frustrating. But I'm also like, this is what I can do right now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that you have continued to like do what you need to do to get these things done. It's just annoying that it falls on you.
Yeah. If I don't, they do not care.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The assistant to my psychiatrist called. And she was like, hey, I want to schedule an appointment. And I was like, sure. Keep in mind, this is like 3 weeks ago, early December. Okay. She was like, okay, so yeah, he wants to see you in person because the last couple appointments have been through the phone or over video. Are you able to come in? And I was like, sure. Yeah, I can come in. She was like, okay, how does February 18 look? And I was like, crazy. Let me check my schedule. Sure. I can be there in 3 months. Anyway, it's always like that. I feel, at least with Kaiser, make an appointment for 2 months from now.
Yeah.
Hey, I might not even be mentally ill at that time.
Exactly. I've had that experience so many times with my therapist. I've gone through some stuff, and then we'll have an appointment the week after I've already experienced all of the 5 stages of grief, like everything. I've gone through it, and by the time I see her, she's like, so how was your week? I'm like, it was good.
You're like, this week was great. If you had asked me 4 days ago.
Yeah, it's a trip.
Oh man, I just think that that's so frustrating that you in advocating for your health, it's such a journey, such like a pressing, pushing journey when you're the one pressing and pushing. So it's like this is your wellness, this is your health, this is your day-to-day like physical body, and it's how it's able to move throughout the day. So
yeah, it's so mentally draining too, because you're thinking about other things, and then in the back of your mind it's like, by the way, I'm sick.
Oh like, God.
Yeah,
always there no matter what.
And it's like the reminder is there from the pain in the wrist, not being able to do the same stuff that I used to do, and it was frustrating. And I think I think I didn't acknowledge that for a while. Like, I stopped doing yoga. I don't really exercise much, but that's okay. We're working on it.
She's
We're
getting
working on
there.
it.
It's a growth process.
And yeah, like, even that in itself has been really difficult because for the most part growing up, my mom encouraged me to be very active and to move, and just the importance of being active and like taking care of yourself. So I definitely I feel like I just feel so much more, I guess you could say, gratitude in knowing that yes, I do have rheumatoid arthritis, but I am still young enough to take care of it, and to the point where it's not going to hinder the rest of my life. And I'll still be able to move, and I'll still be able to do all of these other things. Maybe not at the same intensity, because I was being pretty hard on my body. Like I told you the other day how when I went to go do my MRI, there was a slight tear in my wrist. I had no idea. Did I tell you about that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I when I went to do my MRI, they found a partial tear in my wrist.
What?
Yeah, and like I had no idea, but I think I'm just so used to pushing my body really hard. And that's another thing that I've just learned, the importance, especially of working out. Like, you have to be really careful, and I definitely think it's what is it called? I've seen people on TikTok just say like it's a reward, and it's what am I trying to say? Like, you're lucky to be able to move your body, because some people
Like
don't.
it's a blessing.
Yeah. So I have a new perspective on working out, because I definitely used to just work out to be skinny.
Yeah. No, same,
Yeah.
same. I was going to ask you about that, about how your journey has been in talking with yourself about these changes, because it's got to be upsetting to be able to do one thing one day, and especially things you enjoy like yoga, and then another day not be able to do those things. That's got to have like a weight on your mental health. So in talking with yourself and that inner dialogue, what has that looked like?
Luckily, I've been very kind to myself, and I think that's just come with like age, because when I was younger, there was no room to be fat. There was no room to look anything other than like toned, or just, and I think just having grown up and realized there's so many more important things going on in the world, and like in general and in life, it's so short. Like, why am I torturing myself by being so mean when I already have so many other things going on? Like, there is no need for that. And I feel too, as a generation, we've been very vocal about the importance of rest and taking care of yourself. So I'm really grateful that we grew up in this time, because I do not feel guilty for laying in bed for 10 hours sometimes, I don't feel bad about myself when I don't necessarily work out. I feel great when I have the energy and I'm like, I'm gonna do it. But if I don't, I'm just kind of like, it is what it is. I'll try again. And I think as long as I keep trying, like, it's gonna work out. Like, I'll get there eventually.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like specifically hone in on like the physical part of it, but I think that, well, at least what year were you in? 2023? Maybe like, I feel like before COVID, maybe even before or during when I had met you, was when like I had my lower back thing, and I just like really couldn't do a lot. So the physical part of it at that time, the whole inner talking to myself was definitely I wasn't as kind as I am now. But I kind of just felt like for me, I did a lot of comparisons. It wasn't even just like physical stuff. I was like, I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that right now, but I can't do this right now. I can't do that. That trickled into, I think, like anxiety, at least for me at that time. But for you, for right now, it sounds like you have been kind to yourself in this process, and I'm really glad. And I feel like there's something that typically, if I'm talking to you about something, at some point on the phone, you'll say, well, make sure, you're being kind to yourself. And I feel like that's something that over the past 2 years has been like an ongoing practice, because the intrusive thoughts are quick to kick in.
Yeah.
So having that reminder is always nice, because it's nice to have someone else ground you in the things that you're trying to work towards on the inside too. So you talked about how like this past year, knowing more about your health, knowing more about how to, the medication and what's coming next has helped you a lot. In the moments where you didn't have that information, why are you laughing?
Because I already know what you're going to ask me.
Tell me what I'm going to ask you.
How did you cope with that?
I must be a therapist or something. Well, because I think that your journey, I'm sure a lot of people have experienced both the earlier portion and the current portion, being that a lot of people don't have answers a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And so it's like the anxiety is real. And then I feel like that manifests into other physical wellness issues,
Yes.
So in the moments where you were trying to work towards being where you are right now, what is it that got you through that? How did you get through that?
That's rough, because honestly, it was not, well, the number one thing that got me through it was nighttime meditations on YouTube. I
forgot about that.
To like 3 or 4 back to back, because I could not sleep. I was just tossing and turning. I'd get hot. I'd think about other stuff. And it was frustrating because I felt physically tired, but my brain would not shut off. So what helped me fall asleep and just get through the next day was listening to meditations. I cried a lot. I still kind of cry a lot when I think about it, but I think I just need that release.
Yeah.
Also having a therapist, and even just like having you and having Gustavo, like just the support of my loved ones. And we don't even necessarily have to talk about like, oh, how are you feeling? It's just like hanging out, living my life really has helped me get through it, because life doesn't stop. Like you just have to keep going, even if stuff is going on.
Right.
And I think that's another thing that has helped me accept, like whatever is going to happen is going to happen, because life will continue. And I can choose to be like, I can choose to let my anxiety dictate how I'm going to live the next few months or years, depending on my progress, or I can just choose to, yes, this sucks, but like I just have to keep going. And I feel like that was a number one thing, and just that constant self-talk and inner dialogue of like, you're gonna get through it, like you've been through stuff already, you're gonna get through it, whether it's good or bad, you're gonna get through it. So yeah, I'd say that that's kind of how, and I'm still using those to cope and to process. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I asked that question to everyone because you never know what may be helpful, to someone else, or to hear like, oh, okay, so they do that too, so they still cry like often. You know what I mean?
And it wasn't pretty. Like in those moments, I say it very easily right now. Like I just listened to a meditation, but in that moment, I was freaking out. Like I was having active anxiety, thinking about my health, like I'm gonna die, I'm gonna get more sick because I'm thinking about this, and my cells are now programming. It's a
Oh,
whole
God.
thing. It's
Yeah.
a whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been difficult. But those things have really helped.
Mm-hmm. Good. Unrelated but related. When someone says they couldn't sleep because they had anxiety, sometimes maybe that just means they're tossing and turning. But I have had nights, and we've talked about this, where like I'm trying to fall asleep, but the anxiety is so high that like I have been like where you're shaking, where you like feel really cold, you're shaking, your stomach is like in a knot. And it's like I remember trying to focus on my breathing or like focus on the things around me, but sometimes I would be able to shut my brain off and not my body. Like sometimes it would be swapped where like the physical reaction of the anxiety wouldn't subside. I'd be like, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. And up here, I'm like, I'm fine, I'm fine. But like my body is telling me that I'm still really anxious. And so, and then I've had it the other way too, where it's like your brain is like spiraling into like different thoughts and it's like getting worse and worse and worse. So I say that just in case, you know, if you yourself have experienced that, it's not fun and it's real. Like anxiety can keep you awake.
Yeah.
I remember you calling me or talking. We would talk sometimes the next day and you'd be like, I'm really tired. Like I didn't sleep.
Yeah.
And so it's real.
It is. That's so interesting that you get cold.
I get really cold and I shake.
Dude, I sweat.
Really?
I drip in sweat. My body gets so hot. Like I'm sweating when I'm thinking of like all of this stuff. And my heart starts beating really fast. And it's like I did a full on workout. But
Yeah.
stressing my brain out right now.
That's a trip.
Yeah.
Sometimes I would sweat, but I would still be cold. Never felt hot. Yeah. Which honestly, both cold sweats, hot sweats, sweating, shaking, they're all symptoms of anxiety. They're all somatic symptoms of anxiety.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a trip. So as ugly as it was, you got through it. And, you know, even when difficult moments hit, it sounds like even reminding yourself that you made it through and you will get through is also helps.
Yeah. I will say, I do want to incorporate more just body movement because I told you the other day I went to cycling.
Yeah.
And I felt so good.
Yeah.
Like it just felt like a much needed release of energy. So that'll be part of my, of course, the typical New Year's resolution, like gonna exercise more. But
New Year.
truly is really good for you.
It is. Yeah.
No
but I
joke.
mean, yeah, that's real. And it is good for you and it feels good afterwards. And it's kind of like, even if like you don't even need to go ham, you know, just moving feels good.
Yes. I try, when I remember and when I have time and like I'm feeling good, I'll try to do stretches right before bed, specific for falling asleep. Makes the difference. It always makes a difference.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Downward
love that.
dog, not downward dog. What is it? Child's pose is my favorite.
Ooh, I love
it.
Child's
I'll just put a
pose.
pillow under me and just I'll lay there, maybe like 20 minutes. My hips are burning. But it feels so good. It feels so good.
Sometimes in class, I'll tap out and just be in child's pose for like a few minutes. Like, you guys enjoy.
Yes.
I'm gonna just be here. Before bed, if I'm feeling anxious, what really helps me is reading. I will make it through 5 pages. I'm out. I'm done by page 3.5 after I've read page three times.
Read, and it's so fun. It's not funny. I just think it's cute because she has a little light attached to her book. All the lights are off and she'll just attach her little light and she'll just read in silence.
Guys, I would like to say I have like 5 books, all of which I've started, all of which I have not passed page 15.
That's okay.
Because I do it before bed. I think my body has already associated it as a coping mechanism to sleep. So if I pick it up, I'm out. It's really, I think at that point, just getting the light on, the book open, I'm out.
It's part of the nighttime routine.
It
at this
is.
point.
It is. But I'm so proud of myself when I can do that and not have been on my phone for like an hour. That's when I sleep better. I sleep so much better. 2 nights ago, I fell asleep watching a TV show. I did not sleep good. Yesterday, I didn't have my phone or my laptop in bed, and I slept like a baby. It makes such a difference.
See, I forget about that sometimes because I'll be on FaceTime with Gus, and it's just natural instinct to be on your phone.
Yeah.
So I also need to get out of the habit of doing that because we'll be FaceTiming right before bed, and I'm like, let me just scroll through Instagram really quick.
Yeah.
That scroll turns into, we know,
like
30 minutes, 45 minutes, and by that point, it's like, I'm tired, but my brain is awake.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I need to try to hop on that because you've seen my pile of books, and I haven't. I haven't read past like 2 pages on a lot of stuff.
Dude, gets me every time. But last night I made it to like page 5 because it was really early, and I was like, I actually want to keep reading this, so I should really try and read it in the day when the sun's out.
I remember this was a while ago when you told me you finished this one book that you had, but you just liked rereading it because it was a comfort.
Yes.
That's really cute.
I think that's also an anxious thing, dude.
Is it?
I've read the same book like 5 times. The books that I have finished, I've read them like 5 times over the course of 8 years now.
But I thought you said you started a new one, no?
Oh, yeah. No, I've started a bunch of new ones. I just haven't finished them.
That's okay.
But yes, that comfort one, it is pure comfort.
I love that.
Yeah, me too. It makes me happy. So we talked about like going into this new year, mental health wise, how you're feeling excited. So to wrap up for today, I wanted to talk a little bit about what is it that fuels your soul?
Just being in a state of peace is what fuels my soul. I have been, especially this year, it's been one of those kind of touching on what we talked about previously of like, just make sure you're taking care of yourself, you're being kind to yourself. Especially with how easy it is to compare ourselves with what everybody else is doing. Being able to tap into like, well, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm happy doing. It really doesn't matter if other people like it or not. If I'm happy doing it, that's what matters to me, and that's going to bring me peace. And I think accepting that and knowing like, I don't know, because I think growing up, it's very, you want to do so many things and you want to be super ambitious, and that's important to have. And I think everybody should have ambitions and goals, and like, I think there's just that expectation of you got to take it to the next level, and sometimes you don't really have to, like, you're the only person putting that type of pressure on yourself. And I feel like I was trying to do that a lot of like, I need to figure out how to like take my life to the next level. But I was getting so wrapped up in that I wasn't taking any steps in that direction. And I felt so stunted in my growth and just frustrated and really lost. And now that I'm kind of like, well, let's just erase that for now. Let's just focus on what we're doing right now. What's going to make you happy in this moment? Truly just being at peace and knowing that my health is at tip-top shape. That's truly the only thing fueling me. Of course, my relationships and my loved ones being safe, that's important to me. But I think for myself, just in general, peace is really important to me, because I just feel safe. I feel in control when I'm in that space. And when I'm not in that space and I'm thinking about other things of like, oh, I need to be more ambitious, I need to do this, I feel like the fun is sucked out of my life, and I'm just miserable, and not a nice person, or I'm just not fun to be around because I'm constantly thinking about like, well, I'm not doing enough or I'm not doing this. And so, yeah, I'm just accepting where I'm at, and I feel a lot of peace right now. Yeah.
So it sounds like staying in a state of peace by removing any unnecessary pressure that especially isn't even yours and might just come as a result of others.
Yeah.
And kind of like this collective expectation of going up or more, doing more, you know. And that's how you get to your peace. I love that.
And I feel like it's, in doing that, it's actually helped me take good risks in what my future will look like. And just hoping that it works out. But even if that doesn't work out necessarily, I know something else is going to open up. I think having hope too, and just knowing like something is going to come up, and I just need to be patient and understand that my time will come when it's time. Yeah.
And that's hard to do.
It is. It is really hard to do.
The being patient part and the hoping and trusting is really hard. I feel like for myself, in those long periods where I know it's just a waiting process, sometimes that's when I feel the need to do more.
Yeah.
Because the thought of just being still is like too much. So, yeah, I love that. I think I can agree with that. I think I feel a lot of peace when I'm able to do that.
Yeah.
And it's just very freeing. I feel when you're in that space.
Yeah. I truly do not care. I mean, I care, but I don't care what's happening outside.
But it's what you care about, right? You're
Yes.
caring about you and what fills you and how you feel peace and not how others. Yeah, I love that.
What about you? What fuels your soul?
I would say a very similar thing, the same thing. I think feeling peace. And I think for me, when I'm able to remove that pressure, absolutely, it is a great place to be. So that's kind of like an active, ongoing thing. But aside from that, being outside. Being outside.
She loves being outside. And I really appreciate that about you, because you're that reminder for me of like, I need to go outside.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Just being outside, like at the park. You won't catch me really doing anything too wild. Just walking,
chilling,
sitting, stretching in the sun. Yeah. So being outside, connecting with you, my friends, and working towards that inner peace, like you said, because it's like periodic, and when I feel it, I'm reminded, well, this is why it's important to care about these things instead of those things. So
yeah,
I can 100% relate to that for sure.
Yeah. You're my daily reminder to try and go outside when I'm here at work.
Dude, this is so beautiful here. You could walk around here.
I know.
But getting out is a whole ordeal, I'm sure.
That's a mission.
I wish you had a window.
When I am.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I wish I had a window too. My front coworker.
The one, yeah.
Yeah, she is coming back soon. And so when she opens her door, she always leaves her door open.
Okay.
And she has a huge window.
Wow.
So I can see.
Wow.
But I can also keep track of like what time of day. I mean, I can look at the clock, but it's a trip when I get to work bright and early, and by the time I leave it's dark.
Yeah, that's that winter for you.
Yeah.
At on campus at work, dude. I cannot sit in there all day. I would literally take my picnic blanket outside to the field and my laptop and do notes outside for a little bit.
I should do that.
You could.
I could.
You could. Well, because we live here. The sun's always out.
And I have a hotspot. I can connect. So there will be no problem. Takes a Zoom call with the student.
I've done that. I've been in meetings and I'll be outside. I just feel so much happier. I hate being inside for longer than like an hour at a time. So that heavily contributes to my mental health and my spiritual health.
Wow. I didn't think of that. Yeah, because some days you're just drained.
Yeah.
The day goes by so quick, and I'm like, I have not stepped outside and felt the fresh air on my face.
Exactly. And then you go home and then you go into your room and that's a safe space, but there's no,
There's
sun
no.
really. I love your little window in your room.
Thank you. I
It
love
makes
that
me so
window
happy.
too.
I love that window too.
It feels so special. I
It
don't
does
know
feel
why.
special. You know which window I would say is even more iconic? The one when you're walking down your stairs. I could sit there all day.
Dude, my cat, those are his two favorite windows. The one in my room and the one walking down the stairs.
Smart cat.
Smart
I'm
cat.
not a fan, but that's a smart cat. All right. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, thank you for having me.
I love you so much.
I love you.
Truly appreciate our friendship. And so it's super special to me that you're here.
Yes, thank you. I feel honored to have been your last guest on this year's podcast.
2023,
episode.
We out. We out of here. Peace.
Yes.
So we're done and done.
On to a new year.
Amen.
Ready.
Cheers.
Cheers.
You already knew.
Cheers.
All right, everyone. Thank you guys so much for listening, watching to the Souly Human podcast. Episodes now release the first Friday of every month because your girl is doing a few different things. One of those things being studying for my LCSW exams. So, send me positive energy, pray for me, manifest, whatever it is, send all the good vibes my direction. I'm really excited. So I'm going to be busy doing that, but episodes will release once a month on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So as you go into your day, as you go into your week, please be empathetic with yourself and be kind to yourself. The words that you use in your head, and even if you're just talking to yourself, practice empathy and love and respect for yourself the same way that you would someone that you love, your partner, your friend, your mom, your sibling. So thank you guys again, and I'll see you later.